I'm Dale Smith for Looney Politics, and a couple of weeks ago, the Ontario Court of Appeal handed down a ruling that said that most of the searches that CBSA has been doing on electronic devices at the border have been unconstitutional. And that's a pretty big deal. One of the findings they gave was basically that CBSA can inspect your phone or computer or your tablet just based on their vibes, and the court has basically said, no, that violates the charter. The border is not a charter-free zone. Therefore, the government has 6 months in order to change the law, in order to bring it up to a standard where CBSA officers need a reasonable ground to suspect that there is something amiss. Now, the government introduced a bill known as S7 in the Senate 2 years ago. And the government sometimes will introduce bills in the Senate rather than in the House of Commons, usually if they're technical in nature or something that they feel that the Senate can get a head start on before it goes to the House of Commons. And this is one of those bills. And in it, one of the things they proposed was allowing CBSA to search devices or conduct any searches on reasonable general grounds. And the senators basically rebelled and said, no, that's unconstitutional. That's ridiculous. We are not going to let that happen. So they amended the bill to bring it to a standard of reasonable grounds to suspect, which is the same one that the court has said is the minimum. And then they sent that off to the House of Commons. The government has not been happy about that. They have sat on this bill for 2 years and not advanced it. But now they have a deadline. The court has given them 6 months. We've already passed 2.5. By the time Parliament comes back in September, it's going to be at least a month off of that clock. So the clock is ticking. They're going to have to make some real quick decisions about keeping the Senate's amendments, maintaining the standard of reasonable grounds to suspect, or even going further to a higher standard of reasonable and probable grounds, as some people say is much more constitutional, and getting that through within about 4 months, which is doable because they've got the head start of having already had the Senate process done. But the clock is ticking. The government doesn't have a lot of time to get it done, and it's something they're going to have to prioritize as soon as they get back in the fall. For Looney Politics, I'm Dale Smith.